what I'm about to tell you is something most doctors don't say out loud. The advice given to people with diabetes about fruit is a mess. A genuine contradictory, confusing mess. And it's not your fault if you don't know what to believe. I'm Dr. Gabor Maté. In over 2 decades of working with patients with diabetes, I've heard the same 3 stories again and again. The first patient tells me their nutritionist said fruit is basically sugar and they should treat it like candy. Avoid it almost entirely. The second patient heard from a wellness influencer that fruit is natural sugar, so it does not count. Eat as much as you want. The third patient read a headline saying tropical fruits are dangerous, but did not see anything about which ones, or why, or how much. 3 completely different answers, all from people claiming authority. No wonder you are paralyzed. And what happens because of that paralysis? Some of you have stopped eating fruit entirely. You are missing fiber, vitamins, and compounds your body genuinely needs to fight the complications of diabetes. Others are eating fruit freely, with no strategy at all, then checking your glucose numbers and wondering why they keep climbing. Neither group has been given the real tools to make confident decisions. That changes today. Today, I am going to walk you through the 10 best fruits for why fruit advice is so confusing people managing their blood sugar, and the 5 fruits that demand serious caution, not based on guesswork or fear, but based on the science of how each fruit actually behaves inside your body. We are going to be specific, we are going to be honest, and by the end of this, you are going to feel like you finally have a clear map. But I want to say something first, and I need you to actually hear it. There is no fruit on this planet that I'm going to tell you. You can never touch your lips again. Not one. That kind of thinking leads to failure, obsession, and eventually giving up entirely. What I believe in is understanding. When you understand how a food behaves, you stop fearing it and start managing it. That is a completely different and far more powerful way to live. People with diabetes should eat fruit. The question is which ones, how much, and when. Let us build that understanding right now. Drop your country in the comments. I read every single one. And if this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the notification bell, because this is exactly the kind of content I put out every week. Before we get into the list, I need to give you 2 tools. Because without these tools, the list is just a list. These tools, you will understand the why behind every single item, and you will be able to apply this logic to foods I have not even mentioned. The first tool is the glycemic index, or GI. Think of this as a measure of speed. Specifically, how fast does the sugar from a particular food enter your bloodstream? A GI above 70 means sugar hits your blood like a sudden wave, your glucose spikes sharply, your pancreas panics, and your body is in reactive mode. A GI below 55 means the sugar enters slowly, smoothly like a gentle tide. That is what we want. The second tool is glycemic load, or GL, and this one is critically underused. If GI is speed, GL is total volume. It tells you how much sugar actually lands in your bloodstream. When understanding glycemic index, GI, you eat a realistic serving of that food. AGL under 10 is considered safe. AGL above 20 is a serious red flag. Here is the rule I want you to carry with you for the rest of your life. When choosing fruit for blood sugar management, you want both low GI and low GL. One without the other is incomplete information. And one more thing before we dive in. I am going to hold everything to the same standard weight, roughly 4 ounces, or 120 grams. That way we are comparing reality to reality, not a tiny handful to a massive bowl. Let's go through 10 fruits that help control blood sugar. The last one is the one I recommend most. Number 10 is plums. Plums do not get the attention they deserve. With a GI of 39 and a GL of just 5, they sit comfortably in the safe zone. If you want something naturally sweet that will not ambush your glucose levels, a plum is a trustworthy choice. They are also rich in vitamin C and contain compounds that support liver function, which matters more than most people realize for those managing insulin sensitivity. Number 9 is pears. A perfectly ripe pear has a GI of 38 and a GL of 4. Excellent numbers. But here's what I want you to notice about pears specifically. The fiber is not evenly distributed throughout the fruit. A large portion of it is concentrated just beneath the skin. If you peel your pear, your glycemic load, GL, explain peeling away significant protection. Eat it whole, skin on. That fiber acts as a physical barrier that slows the release of sugar into your blood. Do not throw that away. Number 8 is apples. GI of 36. GL of 6. You already know apples are good for you, but let me be more specific. Apples contain a soluble fiber called pectin. Pectin does not just slow sugar absorption, it also acts in your digestive tract to help reduce LDL cholesterol, which is your bad cholesterol. For a person with diabetes, cardiovascular risk is the number one long-term concern. Eating an apple with its skin is doing two jobs at once. Never underestimate the humble apple. Number 7 is passion fruit. GI of 27, GL of 5. Those are remarkable numbers. Passion fruit is one of the most blood sugar-friendly fruits in existence, and most people have never considered adding it to their regular rotation. Here is the bonus. Passion fruit contains natural compounds with a mild sedative effect that supports deep quality sleep. Why does a diabetes channel care about sleep? Because poor sleep directly worsens insulin resistance. Which one bad night of sleep can raise your fasting glucose the next morning, as though you had eaten poorly? Passion fruit is not just a snack, it is a nighttime strategy. Number 6 is oranges. And I need you to stop here for a moment because what I am about to say has more practical impact on your daily blood sugar than almost anything else in this video. A whole orange eaten with all its segments intact has a G1 to 40 top 10 fruits for blood sugar control and a GL of 5, safe, nutritious, genuinely beneficial. But drinking orange juice is not the same thing. They are not the same food. They are not 10 plums interchangeable. Think about your own morning for a second. If you pour yourself a glass of orange juice, maybe you use 2 or 3 oranges to fill that glass. Now ask yourself honestly, would you ever sit down and eat 3 whole oranges in one sitting? Probably not. You would eat one, feel satisfied, and stop. But in juice form, those 3 oranges go down in under a minute, and you barely notice it happen. The fiber that would have slowed everything down is gone, left behind in the pulp. What reaches your bloodstream is essentially a concentrated wave of sugar. The GL of that glass climbs above 20, which is the 9 pairs red zone. This is one of those moments where the healthiest seeming habit is quietly working against you. Fresh squeezed, organic, no added sugar, and still a problem because it is not about what was added. It is about what was removed. The fiber was removed, and the fiber is the protection. Eat your orange. Do not drink it. Number 5 is kiwi. GI of 38, GL of 9. Kiwi earns its place here for 2 reasons. One is obvious. It is genuinely low in its glucose impact. The second reason is what makes it particularly valuable for diabetic patients specifically. Kiwi is 8 apples dense in antioxidants, particularly vitamin C and vitamin E together that have been shown in studies to help reduce blood pressure. Why does that matter here? Because approximately 2/3 of people with type 2 diabetes also develop high blood pressure. Managing both conditions simultaneously through food choices is enormously valuable. Kiwi lets you fight on 2 fronts at once. Number 4 is strawberries. GI of 41, GL of 3. That GL of 3 puts strawberries among the safest fruits you can eat for blood sugar management. But the real story of strawberries is in a class of pigment molecules called anthocyanins. These are the compounds that give strawberries 7 passion fruit their deep red color, and they are among the most potent cardioprotective agents available through food. The blood vessels that feed your heart, kidneys, and eyes are the structures most at risk as diabetes progresses over time. Anthocyanins directly support the integrity of those vessels. Eat strawberries frequently, not just occasionally. Number 3 is guava, GI of 23, GL of 3. I want you to notice that GI of 23, that is extraordinarily low. For context, white bread sits at around 75. A guava and a slice of white bread could not be more different in how they treat your blood sugar, and they can cost similar amounts at the grocery store. I also want to knock down a myth right here that has genuinely scared people away from fruit they should be eating. The claim is that fructose, the 6 oranges versus juice sugar found in fruit, damages the liver, and therefore all fruit is dangerous for diabetics. This is false, and it needs to be said clearly. Fructose becomes harmful when it arrives in concentrated form as in sodas, corn syrup, and processed juices. The liver processes concentrated fructose in a way that causes problems over time. But the fructose naturally present in a whole guava arrives alongside fiber, water, vitamins, and polyphenols that completely change the metabolic picture. Your liver is not treating a guava the same way it treats a can of soda. Do not let fear of a word keep you from a genuinely health-supporting food. Number 2 is peaches. GI of 42, GL of 4. Peaches are one of the most forgiving fruits in existence for people managing blood sugar. Sweet enough to satisfy a craving, low enough in their glycemic impact to be a genuine safe harbor. And I want to use this moment to answer a question I receive constantly. Does this list apply to prediabetics, to type 1, to someone newly diagnosed with type 2? The answer is yes to all of them. The principles here serve anyone with any form of blood glucose management challenge. They are not exclusive to advanced diabetes. They are simply good science. Number 1 is fresh cherries. 5 kiwi GI of 27, GL of 6, about as close to perfect numbers as you will find in the fruit world. But I want to emphasize the word fresh, because there is a version of cherries that is the exact opposite of what I am recommending. Those bright, artificially colored cherries, preserved in syrup, the ones used to decorate desserts and cocktails, they have been sitting in concentrated sugar for months. They bear essentially no relationship to fresh cherries. Stay far from those. Fresh cherries, in addition to their remarkable glycemic profile, contain anthocyanins and other anti-inflammatory compounds that research has linked to reduce vascular inflammation. And vascular inflammation for strawberries is one of the primary drivers of the cardiovascular complications that diabetes can cause over decades. If there is one fruit I would most want to see in a diabetic patient's kitchen every week, it is fresh cherries. That completes the top 10. But now I need you to concentrate even more closely, because what comes next is where a lot of people make quiet, consistent mistakes without ever realizing it. These are not obviously dangerous fruits. They show up in wellness plans, smoothie recipes, and hospital cafeterias. They have good reputations, and for someone managing blood sugar, that good reputation is exactly what makes them so easy to underestimate. We have been in safe territory. Now we move into a different zone. I call these the high-stakes 3 guava fruits. Not forbidden, not poison, but demanding. Eating them carelessly is like driving on a wet road at high speed. Be fine, but the margin for error is much smaller than you think. Number 5 on the caution list is papaya. GI of 58, GL of 10. Papaya is genuinely useful for digestion. It contains an enzyme called papain that helps break down proteins and can relieve bloating and discomfort. I do not want to dismiss that benefit. It is real, but for someone with diabetes, the digestive benefit and the glucose impact arrive together. You cannot get one without the other. And at a GL of 10, papaya is sitting right at the boundary of what is considered safe. If you eat papaya, keep portions small, eat it alongside protein, and do not make it a daily staple. Number 4 on the caution list is pineapple. GI of 59, GL of 14. 2 peaches pineapple is refreshing and has built an impressive wellness reputation. You have probably seen claims that it burns fat, detoxifies the body, and reduces inflammation through an enzyme called bromelain. Some of that has scientific support, but your pancreas does not know about pineapple's reputation. It only knows about the sugar load. And at a GL of 14, pineapple delivers a substantial glucose challenge. Half a cup maximum, not a bowl, not as a freebie, because it seems healthy. Treat pineapple with respect. Number 3 on the caution list is mango. GI of 56, GL of 14. Mango is beloved all over the world, and I completely understand why, but I want to one cherries address a very specific mistake I see constantly. Some people believe that if you add chia seeds or flax seeds to a mango smoothie, you have made it safe for blood sugar. That is a trap. The seeds slow down the rate at which sugar enters your blood. That is the glycemic index effect. But the glycemic load, the total volume of sugar your body has to process, is completely unchanged. Your pancreas still has to deal with every single gram of that mango sugar. You have just stretched the timeline, not reduced the burden. Number 2 on the caution list is bananas. GI of 62, GL of 16. Bananas are everywhere. Cheap, portable, familiar, and nutritious. But look at that GL of 16. If you want to eat bananas, there are 2 rules. Choose ones that are just ripe with some greens still in the peel, and eat half alongside some protein. Number 1 on the caution 5 fruits to eat with caution list is grapes. GI of 61, GL of 12. The problem with grapes is not just in the numbers, it is behavioral. You plan to eat 5. You eat one, then another. Papaya, then another. Before you realize it, you have eaten 20 or 25. If you want grapes, count them out beforehand. Set your number at 10 and stop there. Never eat directly from the bunch. Before we get to the special case, I need to warn you about two dangers, more serious than any individual fruit. The first is dried fruit. Removing water concentrates sugar. A small handful of raisins can exceed a GL of 30. For people managing blood sugar, dried fruit is not fruit. Pineapple, it is concentrated sugar with a health halo. The second danger is ripeness. As fruit ripens, starch converts to sugar. A slightly green banana behaves very differently from a spotted one. Same fruit, different outcome. Now watermelon has a high GWAS above 72, but a low GL around 4 because it is 92% water. In theory, it is manageable. In practice, portion control is the issue. If you can eat a measured serving and stop, it is fine. Mango, if not, it becomes a problem. Be honest with yourself. Let me speak to you directly. I hear exhaustion in people managing diabetes, confusion, contradiction, and loss of trust in their own judgment. Trying to change everything at once does not work. Small, consistent changes do. So, here is your task for tomorrow. Fix your breakfast. Replace high sugar options with 2 eggs and 1 whole fruit from the top 10 list. Most people notice the mid-morning and crash disappears. Start there. 1 change, 5 days, then build. Dana's the 10 fruits you can eat with confidence are plums, pears, apples, passion fruit, whole oranges, kiwi, strawberries, guava, peaches, and fresh cherries. The 5 requiring caution are papaya, pineapple, mango, bananas, and grapes. 2 rules above all: whole fruit beats juice, and less ripe fruit carries less sugar. Managing diabetes is not a war against food. It is a project of understanding. The more you understand, the more freedom you gain. I am Dr. Gabor Maté. Take good care of yourself. I will see you in the